Hey guys, it's Tyler from the Hilson Studio, here with my good friend Ken to talk about his upcoming single, Lusk. What is Lusk?
Yeah, so Lusk is a town in Wyoming. I spent about 10 days there or so, and it's a small little town. And when I was there, I was just having such a great experience. You know, it was my first time really being out on plain lands and just vast western landscapes. And I felt so inspired to write this song, but I didn't know that it was gonna be this song when I started writing. So I just started writing little snippets. And then it started just unfolding in front of me. The more I wrote, I realized it was less about the town Lusk, more than it was about my life at the time and what I was working through or going through or emotions I was having, intertwined with this experience I was having.
Yeah, so it's not so literal toward
no,
exact location.
No, it is not so literal. It's less of a direct story more than it is an entire aura of a feeling that I was going through at the time.
Cool. And did you finish writing it there, or you took it back home once you got back?
Yeah, so pretty crazy. I wrote maybe, let's say, 2 verses there, or verses worth of words. Mm-hmm. And they kind of hung around for a while, probably a couple months, maybe even close to half a year. Mm-hmm. And then I circled back to them. As time passed, now I wanted to write a little bit more about maybe what that experience was looking back on it, or more that was going on in my life now 6 months later. So I wrote a little bit more, probably got about maybe 75% of the song done. Mm-hmm. And then I waited a long time, another 6 months.
Yeah.
And I came back and I wrote it a third time and finished it up. So it was kind of weird. It was this experience where I got to write it once when I was inspired, the second time when I was looking back on my experience, and then the third time almost way far removed from when that trip was, and just wrapping it all up.
So you finished writing Lusk, and at that moment you knew that was the first song you wanted to release as your first single into a solo career kind of thing? Because you've done rock band type stuff, but this is your first solo.
I was trying to look for what my first single would be, what to get out there, and this song in particular I wanted to do first, mainly because in comparison to my other songs, it felt like it didn't have a home. Mm-hmm. It didn't have a place to be with a collection of other songs. It actually just stood alone by itself. So I thought it would be great to release it as a single all by itself, because it kind of was fitting in my catalog as something like that anyways.
What were your thoughts going into the recording as far as vision?
I didn't have a very strict idea of what it had to be, but I had a good sense of what it needed to be. So I knew that I didn't want a whole lot of instruments on it.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted it to have a bit of an open feeling, especially when it involves tempo and just what the players are doing. And it was less about seeing how many guitars we can overlay or other instruments, more so as to, okay, we have a guitar part, what can we do with that one guitar part? Mm-hmm. How creatively can we be with just one section? Mm-hmm. And that I feel that we did a good job at enforcing.
Yeah, no, one thing that I think is cool about the track, a way to do music production, you have a bunch of guitar tracks, a bunch of vocal tracks, overdubs on overdubs, but we kind of just had drums, bass, one guitar, pedal steel, and piano just going the whole time. No overdubs. It was kind of almost as if they were all recording in the room, one take kind of style.
Yeah, and that draws to my influences too of I love Neil Young, I love James Taylor, Joni Mitchell, Ray Charles, and a lot of these guys and girls, they didn't have the ability to do all these crazy overdubs and 17 takes and all this stuff. They just had these very sparse and essential recordings.
Yeah, so we didn't record a full band all at once. We went for a different approach. Sean Power here at the Hilson Studio, he recorded drums and bass.
That was great. I mean, Sean's such a good player, and he's just one of those guys that can pick up a song and knows what it needs right away.
Yeah.
And that's a very special talent to have, to hear a song, whether it be in any genre, and be able to look at it and go, okay, maybe not be what I want to do, but what does the song need? And he's just one of the best I've ever seen do something like that.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how the drums came out. Like that's I guess gravitate towards drum sounds, and that's what I'm like maybe most fascinated with. So I'm really happy with that snare tone. And once we got it recorded, didn't even do much in the mix. Like maybe there was definitely some EQ, but very light. Maybe some like extra saturation or fun transient stuff, but. Yeah.
He knocked it out of the park. And going back to how we wanted to record it, that was kind of one of the ideas, is to not do too much processing, which you don't need to do if you have some really good players on your side, which we did.
Yeah, and this type of song, kind of 70s, dead, fat, snappy, maybe a little gritty at times. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the drums on this one.
Yeah.
What did we do next? We went to piano.
Yeah, so I think we went to piano, which we had a guy in Nashville named Hank. And Hank was great. Hank came right in, and he was very interested in working with the song, which as an artist, it's great because nothing's better than seeing someone else's eyes light up when they hear your piece of work. It's just a very humbling thing. And he jumped right in, and he gave that sound that we were looking for, that old 70s accompaniment piano. And the big thing too is that because I didn't have a second guitar part, I really needed that piano to be that second guitar part. It needed to be
kind of busy and take up a lot of space.
It did. It needed to be busy, and it needed to be, which very important, rhythmic with me. It needed to kind of feed off of my licks and do something similar in a piano style, right? And I couldn't ask for a better piece of music that he put on the track.
Yeah, and like the chords, like it's a very involved song, so I think he killed it. There's some really really cool licks, and shout out to the guys at Laughing Heart Studio. Those guys are great. It was a very cool, quirky piano, upright. I think it was exactly kind of like the sound. We didn't need a grand. We didn't need this.
Bombastic sound, I guess you could say.
We didn't need this pristine, like it needed to have some quirks and
some character to it, and that's exactly what it did have. And yeah, going back to the chord progression, it is. I was nervous about getting these session guys in because it was a tall task, progression-wise. Just a little, very fast changes, very odd chords, and these guys ate it up. So yeah, I really appreciated that.
So after piano, we were kind of rounding the halfway point on the recording process, and went to pedal steel. Found a really great pedal steel player named Whit. Whit is amazing, and I think he just kind of brought the track alive with some super silky, sonic, enjoyable pedal steel.
Absolutely. Again, going back to just like Sean on the drums and bass, of knowing what the song needed. Whit listened to the song and he understood exactly the sound. He's one of those guys that can alter his style to the needs of the song. I think that's super incredible.
Yeah, between the guitar that you laid down, which is very involved, the piano and the pedal steel, I think there's lots of cool things that kind of keep the ear on its toes. And at the end, everyone kind of went a little crazy with some cool licks right before the final hit of the song, which I think is cool.
And when I told those guys on the track exactly what we were going for on making it sparse and then making it busy and progressing it through the song, they knew the exact licks to pull out that were gonna give you those flashy moments that were needed.
Yeah, and it was cool because they did both piano and pedal steel did like a bunch of takes, and it was hard coming up with a comp because everything was so good. So it was like a good problem to have. Yeah.
Very tedious problem, but it was a good problem.
Yeah, I think we kind of nailed a comp for both of those, and I think it turned out pretty cool. After we tracked all the instruments, it was time to replace the demo vocal with your real vocal, which we had a couple harmonies, but we didn't want like vocal stacks or lead vocal doubles or anything. So
yeah, it was one of those things where I wanted to feel very organic. I didn't want it to be too precise. I didn't want it to be too sloppy either. I just wanted it to feel right.
Yeah.
And I think it does feel right. So especially with the harmonies, putting them in the right places. There's not a lot of them, but I think where they fit correctly.
Yeah.
So.
And I think with all the parts that all the instruments are doing, there's like almost no room for like overdubs because everyone's kind of playing kind of busy things and it kind of builds and builds and they're almost like playing consistently. So with that paired with the style, I don't think there was any room for anything else, and it was pretty easy to record from beginning to end, and just had good players, and it was a good song and good parts. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really am looking forward to seeing the song, and I'm looking forward to sharing the song with the world.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I mean, I can't thank you and Hilson Studios and all the players on the track enough. I mean, you guys did such a great job. I came in here with a general idea, and you guys really sharpened it up and made it what it was supposed to be. So.
Cool. I'm looking forward to coming out and just personally being able to listen to it on Spotify or Deezer or something like that.
Yeah. Spotify, Apple Music, every streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
Deezer only.